Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Welcome back to the Polished Beauty segment. We're diving into something both personal and powerful today, the synergy between family wellness and purpose. We're going to be chatting all about unlocking your potential with sibling experts. They're going to be sharing the blueprint for personal and professional growth. Now get this, nearly 83% of people believe they're not living up to their full potential. And research shows that siblings influence each other's career success nearly 40% of the time. So what happens when a brother and sister each carve out extraordinary paths but keep their values aligned? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be unpacking today with two exceptional guests who are also family. First, you know her very well, our resident expert on all things beauty, health, and empowerment. Dr. Daisy Ayim is a triple board certified cosmetic surgeon and OBGYN, a medical thought leader, and the founder of the Polished Beauty podcast. Her approach blends precision science with compassionate care, and she's also one of those few rare doctors who understands beauty from the inside out. Joining her today is her amazing brother, not just any brother. Dr. Emmanuel Ayim is a former NCAA Division I All-American athlete, life coach, and professor at UNLV, an author of an incredible book called Achieving Your Greatest Potential. He's made his mission to help people and organizations elevate performance through purpose-driven living, and his AGP method is literally transforming lives. Together, they're proof that when your foundation is built on love, values, and vision, you don't just succeed, you soar. Welcome to the show, superstars.
Yeah. Thank you, Zen.
Thank you, Zen.
So let's start on the field, Emmanuel. Are you ready? Your transition from professional soccer to academia is truly remarkable. Roughly 70% of executives say participation in sports has actually helped build their leadership skills. Now, your background as a Division I NCAA All-American and pro athlete no doubt has shaped your mindset. So how did your experience as a high-level athlete influence your approach to education and coaching?
You know, it influenced it very, very much. Some of the attributes that I exhibited as a pro soccer player, as a collegiate soccer player, such as discipline and consistency, have been translated quite seamlessly into my career as a professor and as a life coach. Another principle that I used when I was an athlete is that fun facilitates learning. When you're having fun and you enjoy what you're doing, you tend to have your maximal success.
That makes so much sense. It's clear that truly discipline, grit, and structure are core to how you operate, how we all operate, and you've carried that from the soccer pitch to the classroom, so I love it. Now, Dr. Daisy, we talk a lot on this segment about how women break barriers and men, but I'm curious about what plants the seed. Studies show that siblings influence each other's career paths nearly 40% of the time, especially in those high-achieving households. Now, let's talk about the home life you two have shared. How did growing up together help shape your passion and plant that seed for medicine?
Yeah, thank you, Zen. I think the first thing we need to go back to our background. You know, we're both from Cameroon born, and we migrated here. We're immigrants. And so we came with that immigrant family mindset. And I think most immigrant family would tell you when you come to the U.S., you're planted with the core values of wanting to succeed. So inherently, you are already at this head start. Then you have a family structure. We were blessed to have our mom and dad that value education, value success, and they were very consistent, constantly reminding us that we should do great things for our lives. So because you had that frequent reminder, and then being the oldest and having a sibling that's equally driven and a younger sister, the three of us just kind of locked head and said, okay, we're going to work and help each other out. And our parents, again, constantly reminded us and emphasized it, education, education, education. And at that time, you didn't have social media to kind of tell you otherwise. So, you know, by default, the core principles of having God first and morals and culture, it just cultivated us really nicely.
I love that. It's so powerful to hear how values can be instilled early on and how two individuals from the same family can thrive in totally different but equally impactful ways. It truly proof is in the pudding. Now, one of the reasons I was so excited to have you on is because Achieving Your Greatest Potential is more than just a book. It's a blueprint, Emmanuel. And when you look at the studies, 83% of people reported feeling like they are not living up to their full potential, as I said in the intro. Now, your AGP framework really hits home for a lot of us. Can you walk us through the core philosophy behind it?
Yes, AGP, Achieve Your Greatest Potential, basically is that happiness and purpose go lockstep with each other. I've discovered in my experience that, when you are living your life, when you're living out your purpose, you tend to be happy and you tend to be fulfilled, and then you tend to reach your maximal potential. For example, if you're a fish, you should find water to swim, right? If you're a lizard, you should find a tree to climb. If you are a bird, you should fly. If you take a fish and ask it to climb up a tree, it's going to feel as if it's inadequate its entire life.
Wow.
I know. I love that.
That really hits. Now, okay, so Dr. Daisy, I know you have a couple of questions for your brother.
Your AGP model, the core value of it is grit and emotional intelligence, and you speak so much about it. Can you explain to us how this helps with sustaining success in an individual?
So what is grit? Grit is overcoming obstacles. It's getting up every time you fall down. Now, emotional intelligence, on the other hand, there's 4 frameworks of emotional intelligence. There's self-awareness, there's self-management, there's social awareness, and there's relationship management. When you marry emotional intelligence and grit, you are on your way to success. In fact, 58 to about 60% of growth and promotion on the job depends on emotional intelligence, not just IQ on its own.
Wow. So let's talk about burnout. Burnout is real, especially in medicine. Recent studies show that 65% of physicians are reporting signs of burnout. Dr. Daisy, you can totally attest to this, with female doctors reporting even higher levels. And yet, you always seem centered, focused, and fully present. So what's your secret to maintaining personal well-being?
Wow. I mean, burnout is real, and I'm going to speak truly to my physician colleagues, especially women. It's a lot to balance the home life, the family life, and the job life. And healthcare has changed so much. I always see that the best way to avoid burnout is to truly pick a specialty that resonates with what you want to do in your personal life. So enjoy the work, but don't let it consume you. Don't let your identity be your job description. That should be integral in who you are and what you do in your life. So for me, I like being a solo practice owner because it allowed me to customize how I interact with my patient and also how I balance my personal life. And I think that was probably my secret in not being burnout, is just having that autonomy. But healthcare has changed. The solo practice model is being consumed by, venture capitalists and bigger hospital entities. So that luxury doesn't exist as much. And the way I've tried to avoid it is just turn up other aspects of my life, working out more, hanging out with family, traveling, and just doing simple things that kind of take away from the everyday grind of it.
I admire that so much. It's so refreshing to hear someone in such a high-stakes field talk about the importance of taking care of the caretaker, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all about that. Okay, so Dr. Emmanuel, you can't talk about AGP without discussing wellness, right? So according to the CDC, only 20% of adults, U.S. adults, get the recommended amount of exercise and mental health care. So many of us are just trying to find balance in a nonstop world. What do you recommend as a starting point?
As a starting point, finding balance, it's there's a health diamond that includes diet, it includes your genetics, it includes rest, and it also includes exercise. I always tell folks, when you're looking to exercise, yes, it's good to have a gym membership, but you don't really need a gym membership. You can just move around naturally throughout the day, right? So that's the health diamond. Additionally, I have what I'm called the health cyclohexane structure for those of you who took organic chemistry. So you have the diet, you have the exercise, you have the rest, and you have the genetics. But I'm also adding medical attention and then a social outlet. If you truly have that 6 points of a cyclohexane structure in place and you practice them consistently and weekly, you're on your way to finding balance.
So simple. Again, helpful and realistic perspective, especially the way you tie performance to well-being. You can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Absolutely.
Now, we often say success is a solo pursuit, but rarely It's rarely achieved alone, right? And it goes back to research by Harvard. It shows that strong family and social support systems directly correlate to higher career satisfaction and resilience. And you two are a walking example of that. What roles does your sibling bond play in your continued success and growth? Dr. Daisy, you can go first.
My younger brother, and I always used to joke and say that when I grow up, I want to be him.
Oh,
And that's just because he had a very solid person. You know what I'm talking about? He was that individual where I could call about anything at any time, and I know I was going to get a solid advice, and I was going to get a prudent advice, and it was going to take into consideration everything about me. So that's what I loved about that. You know, our parents really did a good job to raise us in such a way that we like each other. Love, I think, comes with a family because you're born into, but to truly like each other is something that you cultivate by seeing how you interact. So just having that stability in that confidence, in knowing that I had a brother that I could call regarding anything and he would be there was amazing. And also he's also high achieving, and that made it easier to relate because we could actually speak on such an intellectual level and yet bring it down to a very normal, easy way just because, again, he's a life coach and he's always been that way in Macon. And I guess he was coaching me and I didn't realize that's what he was doing. So I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, Dr. Daisy. On the same vein, I have profound respect for my older sister, Dr. Daisy. She's a leader. Her gift is leadership, administration, and she's very savvy in business as well as in serving through medicine. We looked up to each other. I tell my kids now that your spouse will come later in the life journey, and your parents will fall off towards the end of your life journey. But your siblings are there with you from the beginning and all the way to the end. So it behooves you to have a strong relationship with your siblings, to lean into one another because they're there for the entire life journey. And it can be a beautiful thing.
Oh, you guys are just making me really take a step back and reflect on what really is important. I have a sister, and that's always been my mindset, and it's time to really just put that back into perspective. So thank you for sharing that with me. And you guys are so transparent with one another. I feel like it flows very naturally between the two of you. Now, Dr. Emmanuel, you haven't had any chance to ask any questions. So if you can ask your sister any question, what would it be?
I would ask you, Dr. Daisy, what is your core value in life that drives your decision-making, your processing, your day-to-day, and everything that you do? What's your core value?
Well, the first thing is God first, right? I do believe in God. And so with that, I'm very mindful in how I take decisions and choices that can impact anyone because I keep that resonated with every step. Then the second thing, which is very important, is peace. Is a decision or the act I'm going to do brings peace to someone? Because I certainly don't want to be a burden to anyone's journey. I see myself as a vehicle from point A to point B. And my job in that vehicle process is to make it as pleasant and truthful and kind and peaceful as possible so that when you get there, you look back and you remember how you were made to feel. So seeking peace in my decision-making is very important for me.
Wow. You guys have a very interesting and unique perspective of almost saying the same things in just very different ways. Like it's two parallel approaches to get to that same end result. And it's just two different perspectives, two different frame of minds. And I love that you each have carved out your own journey. And instead of running perpendicular to each other, it's truly just this incredible, life unfolding parallel. And it shows. It's the bond is there, and it's beautiful. It's such a gift to not only have that kind of bond, but to also use it to uplift others.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I agree.
And I would say this, this is not without its low moments because life has its high and low moments, and every family has its high and low moments. I think the most important message is being able to lock in on each other and try to bring the best in each other, in your family, because every family has its cracks and its highs and lows. So please don't take it as this is a perfect family because it isn't. But what makes it a perfect union is understanding that when he is low, I am the one to bring him up. When I'm low, he's the one to bring me up. And that's how it is in any partnership or family relationship that you may have. Tuning in and reading the cues on when to step in more or when to step back more.
That's great advice. Well, we are officially at the end of our date. Thank you both so much for joining us. I know, Dr. Daisy, you have one signature question that you sign off your podcast with. Would you like to take a hit at it?
Absolutely. I think I may know the answer to this, but I'm curious to know, Dr. Emmanuel, if you had to look at where you are right now, that one bold decision or bold step or anything, what would you say has brought you to this point in your life today?
What has brought me to this point? I had a transformative experience. We've talked a little bit, broached the subject of mental health, and I remember as a sophomore in college, I faced my lowest point in life where I was low, and I think making the decision to get on that plane and fly back to University of Dayton, Ohio, to persist and ultimately graduate with a degree in biology at the age of 20, that has been a catapult. It's been a trampoline that I've bounced off and just set the tone for the rest of my life. Again, as you said, Dr. Daisy, life is not perfect. And a lot of folks are struggling. A lot of those folks have low moments. And if you're one of those people, don't give up, right? Reach down within. Your ability to succeed, your ability to thrive, your ability to live your best life, your ability to achieve your greatest potential is within you. Sometimes you just need a helping hand from a life coach to help pull out the solution to your problems.
Thank you both for sharing your journeys, your insights, and your undeniable synergy. For our listeners looking to tap into their own greatness, you can learn more about Dr. Emmanuel Ayim's coaching and download his ebook at DrEmmanuelAyim.com, or you can check him out on the gram at Emmanuel Ayim. And of course, stay connected with Dr. Daisy at Dr. Daisy on her Polished Beauty podcast. Thank you both for coming on. It was a pleasure having you.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Remember, the path to purpose is rarely linear, but when it's fueled by values, discipline, and love, your greatest potential becomes not just possible, but inevitable. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this. A Moment of Zen is brought to you by the Polished Beauty Podcast with Dr. Daisy Ayim. Hey, ambitious women, ready to shine on the inside and out? Tune in to the Polished Beauty Podcast, where we talk about business, beauty, brains, and body all in one spot. Meet Dr. Daisy Ayim, triple board certified cosmetic surgeon, pro-aging advocate, fitness enthusiast, and your go-to for real talk on leveling up every part of your life. The Polished Beauty Podcast is your dose of ambition meets empowerment. For more information, head to polishedbeautypodcast.com.